Is it going? All right, there you go.
Let's boogie. Good evening, everyone. As for the 15 minutes, I am your teacher, as Mr. Booten has stepped aside to videotape this, actually, and I'm going to go over with you the compositions of art, actually. And basically what this is to help your artwork have a much better concept in organization and putting the elements together, actually. For my first element is unity. Do all the parts in the composition get together? Do they belong with each other? For instance, the hallway painting I did, actually. Do the lights match with each other? Do they evenly balance out? And do the poles actually give into the vanishing point? For the second one, I have balance, though. Is the balance between your colors actually worth the picture? Are they too vivid? Are they saturated? Are they desaturated? And do they have a symmetrical arrangement which adds a sense of calm or any mood or tone that you're trying to set to it, though? As for Brian Huntress, who's not here right now, his pictures I really love, actually. His are have a lot of subdued imagery and are really loose, actually. So I feel that fits with his unity to what he's presenting. The third composition is movement. Now, which direction are you going with your painting? Are you going straight forward? Are you going to the left? Are you going to the right? Are you going up with your painting? Are you going down? And clearly, are you trying to give us a direction with your work? If not, though, that's okay, because some paintings don't have to have direction. They could just be directionless, whether you want to make it have a direction or if you just want it to set to your wildest imagination. The fourth is movement. Well, actually, with that. The fourth is rhythm. It's kind of like music. Does your art have rhythm? Does it have a good flow? Does it connect with your work? Does it actually balance between, something that gives like a nice smooth groove, like in music? The fifth is focus or emphasis. Do you focus on your work a lot? Do you put the emphasis into your work as much as you should? Just like Van Gogh when he said, I get so deep into my work that I get so lost, I can't remember where I am. Another compositional structure is the L shape. If you notice in some of the paintings actually that you do, they'll have like an L shape like this, which will be something that you'll see in your handout actually, which basically points out to the L shape, which is clearly a perfect example in this picture actually. And what it does is that it's not visible though, but it's only visible if you actually put the time into, sight sizing like Mr. Booten has taught us a while ago actually. It's a really precise thing that will help you get your artwork into a much better idea of where it's going, and measurements, of course, too. Next is S shape. For instance, ever notice Hitchcock's movie, The Birds, at the end of the movie where it has like a nice S shape? And if you look into the next page, actually, you'll see that there's a nice S shape on this painting, which actually gives a nice sense of direction, actually. Or another good idea of a movie is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining with the intro, where it has a nice S shape from the roads, and it clearly gives us an idea of where everyone is and where everything is. Number 3 is diagnosis, actually. There are diagonal lines of painting that create a dynamic design, actually. Something like this, though. And it could go in any way that you want, actually. Well, in this case, though, for the painting that you see here, actually, the trees are actually kind of tilted, actually, and they bend, actually. So clearly, the diagnosis is that it goes to your left more on this side, and it goes right onto your other side. The number 4, actually, is fulcrum, actually. Does your work actually create a dynamic relationship, actually? Does it give the balance, like I've mentioned before, actually? Does it give the nice, good waves of up and down? Or is it just softly up and down? Or is it just all over the place, And that's the thing with your art, though. You want to create a nice balance between, up and down. You want to have your work, very balanced enough to actually, help with your work, actually. For instance, yes?
So do you mean in terms of contrast or in terms of line or?
What it means is that it's more in line actually to
Okay.
create, to connect two lever lenses actually.
Okay.
The next one is grouping actually. It uses cluster shapes or items to add weight to a composition. For instance, the painting The Four Dancers by Edgar Degas shows us a cluster of 3 women on one side of the painting, and on the other, it's a cluster of mountains or rocks. You can't really see from this though, it's black and white. So what it basically is that I'm showing, is the painting actually, giving space, or is it giving them a claustrophobic environment that makes you feel claustrophobic yourself? Number 6 is radiating lines actually. This is the diagonal design element actually. You create lines from various points in your painting which converge at the focal point. The radial lines guide your eyes to the focal point, hold them there for a while before you travel to other parts of the pictures. So clearly, with one part of the painting, it's kind of like a focus actually. There are some lines that will create that focus and actually help you keep in touch with a certain part of the painting, as for others will get you distracted actually. Notice how some people don't always look at the same part of the painting actually. Some will look at the details that no one else looks at, and then everyone will just look at the major details. And then there's something that's not on this that I wanted to teach actually, and that is contrast actually. For contrast though, that helps also balance between light and dark. Key terms that I've had from a mass arts student is high key, medium key, and low key. High key is the whitest, it's the brightest of the color palettes, and clearly that will help, boost up your brightness. As for medium key, it neutralizes it. It's at a gray state actually. It will help balance between high and low key. As for low key is the darkest actually. Low key will help give a nice dark tone actually. As the painting I did, the master copy, I used a lot of low key and mid key because I clearly watched The Godfather Part 2 because I wanted to see how they use the low and mid key. And as for a question, you guys don't mind if I take you out to the entryway to show you a landscape example? Do you guys want to get your jackets on, please?
Okay.
I'm kind of nervous.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
I'm going too fast.
You're doing wonderful.
I want to get a picture of you standing next to the painting before we leave.
Okay.
Come back to my office.
Everybody ready?
We're ready.
It's very impressive stuff here. Very impressive work.
Now, the landscape is something that's very important when you do landscapes or scenery, actually. Right where you're standing in front of your eyes is the foreground. It's 100% saturated, 0% desaturated. This will help you give a good idea of what's in front of your naked eye. From behind the sidewalk up to the fence, which is in front of the fields, actually, is the midground, actually. That's 50% saturated and 50% desaturated. That basically sums up a neutrality, like I said, with the medium key. And way beyond the fence up to the fields is actually the background, which is 100% desaturated and 0% saturated. Now, since I talked to you about high, medium, and low key, what kind of key is this scenery in right now?
Low. Medium.
Low. Yes. Because the low key is actually, because it's at nighttime, it's going to have a low key effect to it though. But in lifetime though, actually, if this was daytime or if this was a foggy day, if it was a foggy day, it would be actually more medium key actually, and there would be plenty of high key, but not too much low key actually. As for daytime actually, it's more of an idea of high key actually. And the fun thing about this scenery is that you actually get to see the vanishing point actually, and this helps give you an idea of a perspective with the painting actually. And no matter where you go in your everyday life, your perspective follows you, as well as the foreground, midground, and background, as well as high, medium, and low key.
What did you say low key was again? Is that the...
Low key is the darkest actually. It is the opposite to high key actually, and it's basically black or dark colors actually. Before I turn back to Mr. Booten as a teacher, my personal message is to you. But one question before I even get to the personal message: what three-letter word do heart and earth share in common?
Art.
Art. Without art, heart is just he, and without earth, earth is just eh. So clearly, art is in your heart, not in your mind. So always listen to your heart when you do art, and everywhere you go on earth, no matter if it's in the shittiest areas of, a dump, or if it's in the nicest areas of mountains and valleys, art is everywhere. Everything you see, including yourself, is art. Now, for my personal message to you, is that when you do art, I wouldn't recommend trying to overwhelm yourself or be hard on yourself, actually, like Christina reminded me, actually. That you gotta be a little more relaxed with it actually. You gotta be mellow with it, kind of like Mr. Booten here, So, you wanna have that nice feel to it actually. Art is supposed to ease the mind, like Da Vinci said actually. So you wanna have a nice relaxed mind to when you're doing your art, instead of trying to feel like anxious and overwhelmed, unless that's what you're trying to express into your work actually. And when you express your work actually, it doesn't matter if it's a bad mood or a good mood, or if it's a dark tone or a high tone, there's always a meaning behind your work. And I'm the kind of artist that does not look down upon others, because clearly I myself consider to be a monkey in the middle with art. For those who are high and above, let them keep that. But as for people who are not as good, I try to lift them up. And hopefully I'm doing enough to help you guys today, even though this is my first time teaching. Now, back in 1998 actually, after a year I was diagnosed with Aspergers syndrome. I picked up a big pen and a little scrap paper they give you for math preparation for MCAS, and my dad was holding the camera, my mom was right next to me, and the first thing I drew was a circle. But the reaction was intense actually. Everyone was applauding for me. And with that though, that made me feel confident, but at the same time I was like, if I keep on doing this though, then I might do more of I can succeed in what I do more. And after that though, I just go where the pen takes me. And as of today, look at where it's got me. I'm teaching the class for 15 minutes. Literally. Thank you.
It was a very excellent talk. Thank you very much for giving us that information.